Well, I see that it's 3 o'clock. I'll start again. I see by the clock on the wall, it is 3 o'clock. Time to call to order the Board of Directors regular meeting for Monday, March 20th, 2023. Could I have a roll call, please?
Director Meyerhoffen.
Here.
Director Duff.
Present.
Director Griffith. Vice President Sewell.
Here.
President Martin.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
And let the record reflect that Director Griffith has a family emergency and his absence is excused. Okay, item 2, announcement and verification of remote meeting participation pursuant to AB 2449 or GC 54953 subsection B. Pardon?
I don't think we need to do that today, do we?
I think we covered it on Thursday.
Okay,
on Thursday.
all right. Please stand, and Amber, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I'm sorry, what? Okay. I will place your hand over your heart and join with me in saluting our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got to make sure there's no comment.
That's right. That's right. It took me a while to train all you guys, but you're perfect.
It's got me doing it.
Okay. Counselor, would you lead us in the rules of procedure, please?
Yes, according to the rules of procedure adopted by the Board of Directors, all noticed meetings are conducted using Rosenberg's Rules of Order as a procedural guideline. Directors should refrain from responding directly to public comments at meetings of the board. The president of the board presides at all meetings and decides all points of order and procedure during meetings. The president is responsible for the maintenance of order and decorum at all board meetings. No person should be allowed to speak who has not first been recognized by the president. No member of the board should speak more than once upon any one subject until every other member of the board wishing to speak on the subject shall have been given an opportunity to speak. No board member shall interfere with the orderly progress of a board meeting, and the board president regulates the amount of time to be dedicated to a particular agenda item.
Thank you, Counselor. Item 6, public input. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters within the board's jurisdiction. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. State law prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public that wish to address the board?
President Martin, we do not.
Okay. Employee recognition, human resources report. Pardon?
Well, we have quite a few today. And this is always a great time when we get to sort of bring the staff and the board together. And I get to introduce you to, especially to start out, our very newest employee, which is Elaine Kauai. Is that how you pronounce it, Elaine? Kauai? At any rate, I hope that's right, Elaine. Excuse me.
Sorry, it's Kauai. I was on mute.
Okay, Kauai. Okay, so I was close. Well, welcome aboard. Elaine's education and background will help her perform complex water and sewer computer modeling for the district, especially. That's one of her specialties. She has extensive experience in the water industry and most recently worked as an associate engineer in the water quality division for the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. She's also worked for the Central Arizona Project, an interesting project, as a water resource planning analyst, and for the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California as an associate engineer. She comes to us very qualified, as you can see. She holds a bachelor's of science degree in environmental science and is a licensed California professional engineer. Welcome aboard, Elaine. We're so proud to have you.
Thank you.
Here to introduce Elaine is Eric.
Thank you, General Manager Wallen. You know, we're all really excited to introduce, I'm really excited to introduce Elaine Kawai as our new associate engineer who comes with the education and experience to perform some water and sewer computer modeling and has some regulatory experience and some water resource planning as well. We're excited to bring her on board, and she's really hit the ground running and has jumped in with both feet and has made a lot of progress in our water and sewer computer modeling efforts. Elaine, we're really happy to have you here and take the engineering department to the next level. I believe Elaine might say a few words.
Oh, good afternoon. Thank you. It's a pleasure to attend my first MSWD board meeting and have the opportunity to be introduced to you all. I'm excited to be a valuable part of this organization and look forward to contributing my experience in the water industry and specialized skill set as an associate engineer.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you.
And thank you, Eric. So yeah, we're very excited about this new addition to our staff. Next, we have 5 anniversaries to celebrate. Together they represent about 60 years of service for the district. So we'll start out with Mr. Chad Finch, who has been with the district a year now. He has been in the water industry for 25 years and is a certified treatment T2 and distribution D3 operator. He oversees our water production team, which is responsible for operating and maintaining our valves and pumps and wells and hydrants and booster stations and reservoirs and related equipment. He also oversees our regulatory water sampling and chlorination to ensure that the delivery of our award-winning water is without flaw. Here to introduce Chad is Mr. Danny Friend.
Thank you, General Manager Wallen. Good afternoon, microphone on, directors. It actually has been a pleasure having Chad Finch with a district for the last year. He has, once he came on board, he embraced his team immediately. He started to understand and address the issues in the department, some of the shortcomings and the areas that we need some corrections. In the past year, he's implemented several new technologies, from software just to techniques. From his 25 years of experience, it definitely shows his experience when he came on board with the district. And over the last 6 months, I've worked closely with him, working through our regulatory and our sampling. It's been a pleasure. He's very respectful and knowledgeable, and has been a good fit for the MSWD team. He is on the meeting today. Chad, did you want to say anything today?
Sure. Thank you, Danny and President Martin and members of the board. My name is, again, Chad Finch, and it's been a pleasure to be with the district for now a year, and I look forward to many more. And it's been just a pleasure to see just improvements being made in the system, and also being able to grow a team that has really, with the exception of Tim, is really growing from the ground up. So it's been a pleasure to be part of that process. So thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chad. Yeah, we do have fun every once in a while at other people's expense, sometimes mine.
Really?
All right, moving on. Next, we have Anna Murillo, which we actually had the opportunity to work with before she actually came on board as an MSWD staff, and she really proved herself beyond doubt. In her role, she performs a variety of technical accounting and administrative duties involved in preparing and processing our accounting and financial records. Always wanted to help out. She's part of the 70th anniversary committee, which went quite well, and is also on the employee committee. Prior to joining MSWD, Anna provided accounting support to various organizations in the private sector for more than 15 years, and she holds a bachelor's degree in business administration. And here to introduce her is Rachel Pust.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad to say a few words about Anna. Anna started with MSWD as a temporary employee in the accounting department and quickly, yes, proved herself to be a great asset to our team. She assists with daily deposit reconciliations, credit card activity, and most recently, as a new full-time employee, she's taken on our payroll process and she does a great job of it. She does a great job working with the other departments to make sure timesheets are accurate and is always offering assistance to any employees, answering questions. She's also been a great help helping us test and make improvements to our software. She has a wonderful attitude, a very responsible work ethic, and we are very fortunate to have her here.
Thank you, Rachel.
My pleasure.
Anna, did you want to say anything?
I don't think Anna was going to say anything.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You don't have to.
Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I've been learning a lot and I'm really grateful to be part of MSWD. Thank you. Looking forward for more years.
Anna's been a lot of fun to have on board also.
Thank you.
Yes, you know, when every once in a while, there's certain people I have to limit, like Danny, I had to limit him to 20 minutes on, you know, when he speak here. Just kidding. All right, moving on. Another special person that I remember hiring 15 years ago. This is a significant anniversary, and that is Teresa Murphy. She's been with the district for 15 years. Few employees have the years and the wide range of experience as Teresa. And you'll see that she's worked her way up through the ranks within the district. She initially worked in the customer service department and then moved into the engineering department, where she has a wide variety of responsibilities and duties, and very good at them also. Always eager to help and to look for ways to bring value to the district. We are proud to have Teresa as part of our team. And again, here to talk about Teresa is Eric.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, General Manager Wallen, President Martin, members of the board. Teresa's duties include preparing project specifications and making sure that they are updated to reflect the current JPIA guidelines. She also executes the numerous fire flow requests, processes water and sewer applications, and responds to multiple requests for information daily, and maintains and keeps track of the engineering department expenses and budgets. She has a take charge attitude that helps the engineering department maintain momentum, and is also responsible for the FOG program, and has been staying on top of the supplemental environmental project and maintains the database for that, and accurately keeps and maintains the list of all properties that have registered with the district, their applications and right of entry forms. She's also been part of several employee committees and is a positive influence on them. Teresa, thank you for your service. Thank you for being here and keeping us in line. And we're light years ahead because of you and your efforts. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Did Teresa want to say anything?
Teresa will not be saying anything, sir.
Okay, thank you. The next two are not even, no, they're not only, excuse me, not only good employees of the district, they're very good citizens of this community, and they've lived here. The first is Carol Morin, who's been with the district for over 21 years, and they also been here longer than me. And she's an office specialist too, who has been with the district, like I said, 21 years. She primarily supports our public affairs efforts and serves on multiple committees, including award-winning float and employee committees. In addition, she has been driving force behind the recent blood drives. She is a joy to have in the office. She's always willing to help others when needed, and she is also very involved in the community. And with that, I'll let Marion say a few words about Carol.
Thank you, General Manager Wallem. You know, Carol is a pleasure to have in the office. She's always the first to recognize birthdays or to congratulate others for their accomplishments. She's always looking for ways to improve our outreach activities, and she really has a good sense of our community, and she really excels when organizing those community events, things like the blood drive or organizing our Water 101 workshops. When needed, she's been willing to change her work schedule to come in early or stay late, and never once has she ever complained about the added workload. I have really enjoyed working with Carol over the past year, and I look forward to many more productive years. Carol, I believe you want to say a few words?
Yes, I do want to thank everyone. I mean, I enjoy my job. I enjoy coming every day, and I consider you all my family. And I enjoy living here in the community and being involved. And I look for, I look forward to many more years. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. She's serious about that too. She's very, very involved with this community. The next is Mark from Marion, and he's also worked his way up through the district during his 22 years with the district. He transferred to our wastewater treatment plant in 2017 and designed an innovative gadget to help the wastewater team derag pumps of all those flushable wipes that we've been talking about. The wastewater treatment plant team has coined it the Markinator 3000. He's a truly, I've known Mark the whole time I've been here. He's this wonderful person to work with. He's loyal, dedicated, and a valued member of our team. And I think Lee Boyer has a few words to say about Mark. I did see Lee here earlier.
I was trying to get unmuted. I'm sorry. Thank you, General Manager Wallem. Good afternoon, President Martin, members of the board. Yeah, I was lucky to pick Mark up from another department. He used to be in fleet and facility maintenance. He was in construction maintenance, but we had an opening, and I was able to grab Mark. He's a great guy he knows how to fix just about everything. So it's like having my own little mechanic here. I can rely on Mark to take care of just about any job here at the plant. He's well-rounded and he's eager to learn. Mark is actually sitting right here next to me, and I think he wants something to say. So Mark, thank you for all you do for us in the district as a whole.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you for the kind words. I want to say thank you to the district, the board members, General Manager Wallem, and staff. I've enjoyed my time here. I love my job. I enjoy coming to work every day. It's fun. We make it fun. I love the direction that we're going in now. We have room to grow, and I want to be a part of that. And I do want to welcome the new board members as well. Welcome to the team. And I'm looking forward to many more years here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. And last but not least, we have Adam Wagner, which we have one more employee that we want to honor. He water production operator 1, Adam Wagner, who successfully completed his water distribution operator grade 3 certification. And this is not an anniversary, incidentally, in case you haven't figured that out yet. I'm sorry. We're just congratulating him for getting that grade 3 certification. It is and that's tough, and it's administered by the State Water Board. The certification ensures that operators are knowledgeable and can correctly operate and maintain the system for a safe and reliable delivery of water, of our award-winning water. So here to introduce Adam again is his supervisor, Chad Finch.
Thank you, General Manager Arden Wallen and President Martin and members of the board. Again, my name is Chad Finch, and I'm here to introduce to you Adam Wagner. It's been a pleasure to have him on our team. He's also one of the newer members, slightly newer than me, but not by much. And he's been a great asset to the team. And it's been great to be able to recognize his accomplishments, not only just as D3, but he's also keeps getting more and more and more certifications that he keeps going after. So he is always pursuing growth. And so he's a great member to have on the team. I'm going to let him say something if you would like.
Nice to meet you all, President Martin and the rest of the board. It's wonderful to be here. It's been fantastic. I've been learning a lot. This has been my first experience in the water industry, and I have to say it's been fascinating, and I enjoy every moment. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam. And that concludes our presentation today.
Okay, any members of the board wish to ask any questions or make a statement? No, okay. Moving on to item, well, let me say before we move on that all of the employees that I've met here and staff have been exceptional people, and we're very fortunate to have them working for our water district. And I'm really proud of you all. So now we'll move on to item 8, resolution 2023-04, resolution of the Board of Directors of Mission Springs Water District rescinding COVID-19 local emergency. Do we have anything additional to state regarding that item number?
Nothing additional.
Okay.
This is required to get us out of the COVID world.
Right. Okay. Any questions or comments from the board on here? Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to pass resolution 2023-04.
I make a motion to pass resolution 2023-04.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Mara Huffin,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, item 9, resolution 2023-05, amending resolution 2022-32, revisions to the Mission Springs Water District personnel rules and regulations. That was a rather extensive document that was presented at the study session. General Manager Wallen, do you have anything to add to?
No, nothing to add, and I'm assuming you did get that one correction. Okay, and that would be it. So
Okay.
open up for questions, I guess.
Right. Any questions or comments from, yes, Amber, go ahead.
I had forgotten to ask a question last Thursday. It was regarding your overtime changes. Was there a specific new law that has required us to add counting their vacation days and holidays toward overtime work during the week? Or was that just something we're choosing to do?
We're choosing to do. There is no new law. However, all of the other neighboring agencies is a practice in the industry. So we are just remaining competitive at this time.
Okay, so given that our work week starts on noon on a Friday, and we also have a lot of administrative staff that work on different alternating calendars where they take certain days off during the week, have we calculated what this could potentially cost the district just in an average holiday week that includes potentially a 2-day holiday and then the work week the way that we have it currently set?
Yes, for the most part, the administrative staff does not work overtime. Very seldom. So this would affect mostly the field staff. On an average, if they get called after hours for an emergency, let's say they spend 4 hours, it's very minimal. We calculated about $70 more per 4-hour call. And our goal is not to be calling back people that have been on vacation mostly, but if there is a major emergency, we will call them back. They will have to leave their vacation or their holiday, and it will go a long ways towards employee morale.
To add to that, very seldom are we going to call somebody that's on their vacation that's planned to come in, so it shouldn't impact us that much. However, I say that, and a year ago, last Christmas, we did have to call some people in. We had a big leak.
Well, and from my perspective, previous places that I've worked, yeah, they included federal holidays or state holidays in what counted towards your normal work week. But to include scheduled vacation time, to me, that just kind of opens up a pretty big potential expense on the district
But
to
they-
include that toward your overtime for the week.
We thought about that too, and you have to have it, that schedule has to be out 2 weeks.
2 weeks ahead, yes.
So
And
it can't be like they could just say we were going to take a vacation. We thought about that. Very good point. Very good catch. So, I mean, these are vacations that are out far enough and scheduled far enough ahead that we're going to avoid people abusing that.
Yeah, I'm not concerned necessarily with them abusing it. I'm just concerned with the potential side effect, let's say, of including those types of paid time off toward what would then be considered overtime when they returned to work. That was my question and comment. Thank you so much.
thank you.
This we can schedule, and if they give us a 2 week notice, we can be sure that we don't have to call them in most cases. Okay.
Good.
Yes, sir. I think during the study session, I expressed my concern about the 10% minimum pay raises. So I'd like to ask legal counsel how, I know last study session, you gave a little insight on the legalities of being able to change things on this agenda item in the future. How does the board go about it, say after our general manager, Mr. Wallum here, retires? If we decide, a new board decides to change this, what is the legal process that we would rewrite this?
The board can change it by resolution. So it could come back before the board and you could change it if you wanted to.
Okay, thank you.
That it?
That's it.
Okay. Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution 2023-05, amending resolution 2022-32, revisions to the Mission Springs Water District personnel rules and regulations. Do I hear a motion to pass?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll second that. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
No.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay. Moving on to item 10. Accept audited financial statements for year ended June 30th, 2022. Pardon?
Nothing new to add. I think Arturo did get some of the additional information out
Yes.
to you. So, and Arturo is here to answer questions.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Amber?
A couple actually. So I did receive the added documents at 11 o'clock today from Mr. Siha. And the letter that I had requested, as far as I was specifically requesting communication between the auditors and the board when they had begun the process. And he did provide, Mr. Siha did provide us this morning with a copy of the letter that was sent to Vice President Martin at the time. However, his communication back to the auditor was not provided. So since the communication with the board was supposed to kind of set the tone, so to speak, of the audit, it's kind of hard for me to piece together what has been provided as being the accurate audited financials, since I can't really tell from what was provided what focus they took and what path they went down. So I guess that was kind of a comment, not necessarily a question.
Okay, anything else?
No, thank you.
Ted?
Yes, I asked about some of these loans and the interest, and kind of got what I call a political half-truth. Some of it is tied up, was done with grant money, so we can't really pay it off. but I know there's a piece of property in here that probably wasn't done with grant money that could be paid off. I'd also like to know, the board in the past has seemed to have, or I shouldn't say the board of district in the past has seemed to be reluctant in some cases to give up information. And here on the front page, I'm reading the district staff will distribute to all interested parties required under the state law, debt agreements, etc. So what is the process for the general public to come in and request information?
You can request information at any time. And if it's not confidential, which most of it isn't, I don't know anything that isn't. But I want to correct something up front here, and that is when I introduced the audit, you must remember that the audit is not an analysis of our financial condition. We have done to a basic financial process and recommendations from accountants and other people. An audit is an analysis of the transparency and accuracy of the district's accounting and reporting. In other words, what the audit has said is what we have reported to the board is accurate assessment of our financial condition.
Thank you. But back to my question now. So when member of the public comes in, there's no paperwork they have to fill out to request any information. It doesn't have to go and get approval from our legal
Usually if
counsel. They
somebody
just
comes
come in
in,
and ask for it.
Much of what they would ask for is on the website. I'm not sure what additional information is not on the website, but if it's not confidential information, we provide it.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say, John?
Yes, under the Public Records Act, most of the documents that the district maintains are public records. There are exceptions to that. For example, and I'll just give you one exception. One exception would be attorney-client communications. Those are accepted from the Public Records Act, but generally, unless it falls under an exception, it's going to be a public record.
Those would be the confidential documents I'm telling you about.
Okay. Macy?
If you were to go to our website and go under contact us, then contact information, then there is a form that can be completed online. And one of the topics is public records request. So that process can be started very simply by going to our website under contact us.
All right, I'm going back a few years when there was some confusion on how this was supposed to be done. That's why I'm asking the question now. So it seems that like it's better. You did answer. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Ivan?
More of just a comment, kind of reiterating what I said on Thursday. Just was happy to see the audit came back good, and I was appreciative of all the staff and the work that went into the communications back and forth. And I liked really hearing the comments from the auditors, just saying that, over the past few years that they've been doing it, they've seen improvements, and I hope we can continue to improve. Thank you.
With that, if there's nothing else on there, we'll I'll entertain a motion to accept the audited financial statements as presented by Rogers, Anderson, Malady, and Scott LLP. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, do I hear a second? Okay, I will make a second. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Abstain.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay. Item 11. Esri Small Utility Enterprise Agreement for GIS Services is recommended to approve the Esri Small Utility Enterprise Agreement at an amount of $28,400 per year for a contract period of 3 years. We spent a lot of time covering the details of that on Thursday. Is there anything more from our general manager?
Nothing more. We open for questions.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Ted, anything?
Just were you going to bring something to show how the system actually works, or?
Yes, I've discussed this with Elaine Kwai. We don't have anything to present to you today, but we're working on a demo for you.
Okay. Ivan, anything? Amber? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, President. Just to reiterate a question that I had asked on Thursday, it was confirmed that this project is going to come out of multiple budgets. And I just wanted to also confirm I believe it was you had said that it is currently covered by our current budget. So we're not going to be going above budget by any department for this contract.
Right. No, when we were planning the budget actually last year and then again in the mid-year budget, I did account for this.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. If there's no additional questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Esri Small Utility Enterprise Agreement.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, item 12, United States Army Corps of Engineers sponsor share of Assessment District 18, Area A and Area G design. Arden, anything further?
Nothing further.
Okay, is there any questions or comments from the board? Yes, Amber?
I was actually hoping that we might have had some clarification on those amendments that we discussed on Thursday. I know that Mr. Weck was going to try to obtain information on what those amendments dating back to 2003, the sites, to confirm that we haven't been paying since 2003, $2.5 million for the same areas of sewer project.
No, yes. Yeah. Oh,
And
I
he was
thought
gonna
he
get back
explained
to-
that. Okay, Eric, did you wanna handle it again? These are separate.
He was going to get
Project.
information and I just didn't receive anything. So I wasn't sure if he was going to be providing that or if that was going to be provided at a later date.
Well, Eric's here, so I'll let him kind of give you some idea of when we're going to get that.
Yes, thank you, General Manager Wallem. At Thursday's Thursday's study session, a question was brought up by Director Duff about the dollar amounts for the prior projects and the work efforts that pertain to the Army Corps of Engineers contract. I went through, and just about 45 minutes ago, I got off the phone again from the Army Corps this afternoon, and they did provide me a little bit more information. The amendments that were referenced are for a multitude of projects that were done since 2004. Those projects include the design of the Phase 1 transmission main, completing the Mission Springs Water District Comprehensive Integrated Reservoir Management Plan, project areas M, F, and D Phase 1 project. It also amends the scope of tasks for completing the sewer plans for Area D Phase 2 and Area J, as well as they're currently working on areas A and G. Let's see. Based on the information we were able to suss out from the Army Corps this afternoon, I kind of prepared a list of costs and some of the different categories and things like that. If that'd be all right, maybe I can share my screen. It's relatively rudimentary, but it might paint a more complete picture, if that'd be all right.
And to try to make things a little easier for you also, if you're just able to confirm that none of those previous amendments were for designing area G and A of District 18, then I'm comfortable. If you wanted to do that as well, you're welcome to share your screen as well. I just don't want to make things so hard for you.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, yes, I did confirm with the Army Corps this afternoon that those previous amendments have nothing to do with this current project that we're working on. As a matter of fact, they are updating their boilerplate for their agreements, and you will be seeing in the future a new boilerplate format between Mission Springs and the Army Corps. I guess they've had similar questions in the past from other agencies, and they're trying to make it a little bit more easier to understand and more comprehensible. And so that's where we're at. And you will be seeing that soon. So this $83,000 only covers just the increase in design costs estimate from the Army Corps.
On that 400,000 original estimate from 2019, was that right?
400 was our share.
Perfect.
1.2 million was the Army Corps share.
Thank
So-
you very much.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Did it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, anything from the rest of the board? Ed?
Yes, sir. So we're not gonna owe any more money on this? This is the last payment, this 83,000?
I'll let Eric answer that, but unless there's a problem with the design, right now, the bid came in higher than, what we originally estimated, which we can't help.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like dealing with the Corps. It's kind of like a ratcheted thing where the project comes in and the engineering comes in, and then you get a price from that, and we have to do it their way.
You're correct, General Manager Wallum, and just to draw a finer point, the consultant, Gentera, is under contract with the Army Corps of Engineers. So originally, the Army Corps, when they contemplated this project, estimated $1.6 million for a design effort. And Gentera came in higher than that. That's what this $83,000 is, our 25% share. So since it was estimated to be 1.6, the overall estimate for the overall cost for the design effort is $333,000 more. So our share of that $333,000 is $83,000.
Thank you.
President Martin, if I may add one quick thing. So just to make sure from a clarity perspective, we will be coming back to you after we bid the project and asking for funds associated with the construction. As it stands now, as General Manager Woolham said, as well as Eric said, from a design perspective, based on what we know now and where the Corps is with their design, we feel that this is the last time we'll be coming back to you for design.
This is just the engineering part of it.
Okay, so you'll be coming back for money to build it.
Oh, sure.
Okay. All right, thank you for that clarification. Thanks.
Okay. Ivan? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the general manager to negotiate and render payment for Mission Springs Water District sponsor share of assessment District 18, Area A and Area G design. Do I hear a motion?
Make that motion.
Okay, do we hear a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Marhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay. Item 13, Nancy Wright Regional Water Reclamation Facility update. Do we have a presentation anymore from?
No, nothing more.
Steve Ledbetter? Okay. Any questions or comments from the board on that issue? I don't see any hands raised, so. Item 14, Critical Services Center Administration Building Update. Anything more from?
Nothing
staff or-
new since we talked to you on Thursday.
Okay, all right. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Ted.
No, go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, I had none.
No?
Ted, go ahead.
Where exactly are we with this? I know I've asked in the past, there was some talk after we got back from the Palm Springs school about a concrete dais. Are we going with that concrete dais in this building? Where are we at in the planning stage here where we can go?
I'll let Brian, I did that project.
Yeah, so we went down there and then we looked at it and then we got back and we were never asked our opinion on what
This project is in construction.
Plus, we're going to
The,
another
time.
facility for your the assessment to it, to compare the two. Another,
Well, this is where I'm having this problem.
right, right.
We went to the first facility to compare. The plans continue to be drawn up, but we're not having any input as to what is being changed in those plans from the first time. So now we're going to go down to another facility to look, and for what purpose, I'm not quite sure anymore, because we haven't had any input in this project since I was sworn into office.
Not exactly clear on that. No, Brian or Arden, do you have any?
And where's the money coming from to build this
Well, let me address first thank you, President Martin, members of the board. The first question was, where are we with the design and the project moving forward? We received a set of drawings. We've also met with the board. We went to Palm Springs Unified. We have our own list of changes. We have some of the input taken from that, but we've yet to give those to the architect to go through a full revision of changes because we still haven't gone to the East Valley facility yet. So at this point, we're still pulling together questions, comments, and things like that. So if you have additional comments, please get them to myself or Arden, and we will continue to work through the revisions of the drawings. There are still some things in the drawings that need to be resolved, but we understand that. I'll just bring up one very simple one. There's a gas hot water heater shown on the drawings and some other things located like that, but there's no gas line in Two Bunch. So those are the kinds of comments that we're looking at right now. But also when you talk about the concrete dais and things like that, in the building's perspective, they're not that big of an item, if you will, from a ticket perspective. However, we still can go through and edit that information. And that's why we want to go to East Valley. So we get all of those thoughts, all of those ideas, and take it to the architect, and then they can change the drawings as necessary, as approved by the board at their suggestion. So we are still pulling together comments and things of that nature. We're also going through a CEQA process where we're going to amending our master plan CEQA document. We're doing an amendment to that. Once that amendment is completed, that's when we'll sit down with the city and start going through all of their comments officially. Currently, right now, we've been discussing it with the engineering department and planning department of, hey, this is what we're thinking. This is what the plan looks like. Do you have any questions or comments? We have gotten some preliminary comments from the staff from a perspective of building elevations and things like that. And we're working through those with our own consultant to make sure that when we bring it to them officially, we'll have some of these, what I would consider big issues. For example, the building elevation. If you're in the floodway, it's one thing. If you're out of the floodway is another. Based on the information the city has, where they draw the line on the old USGS maps, it looks like the floodway could be going right through the middle of our building. However, when you go out there with some topography and satellite or survey information, it's actually past that. So when you redefine the floodway line based on elevations on that site, we're out of that location and everything is basically to the east. So we're still going through that process and still doing the design. So to get to your actual question, after we go to East Valley, we will either have a workshop or an opportunity and asking the board, what other changes would you like to see in the drawings that you haven't seen to date? And then that list that we have, we'll then take that to the architects, and that will complete that design, and then we'll be ready to go to bid.
The East Valley is a very important tour you should take, because that is a water district, and you'll see why the design is the way it is. It's a workflow thing again, in only physically.
So,
and it'll help you understand, how these things are designed and planned.
so we're going there to look at another office building.
Only this one is a water district like ours, not a school district.
When you say floodway, is that for the amount of rainfall we have now, or for when the 100-year flood comes?
I believe by definition, the floodway is the 100-year flood event coming down off the mountain.
Coming down off the mountain.
We designed for an event occurrence.
What are we going to do with the well that's going to be if the grade level has to come up, which it more than likely will, because the building next door to it is. So you're going to have the building next door 4 or 5 feet up in the air. Then our critical service center is going to be 4 or 5 feet up in the air. And in between that, we have a well that's level with the street. So how are we going to protect the well? Because the flow of that water is going to be going around.
Actually, that well is just a little bit less than the building next to us, and our building or our sites are actually lower than that well. So it's based on the highest elevation at the point of the slab, and because our building is farther away as it starts going down towards Two Bunch, they actually can be staggered at a lower elevation. And that's one of the things we're working with the architect to make sure that our interpretation and the city's interpretation is the same before we actually submit a set of plans to them.
That'll be part of the next review process.
Yep.
But every time we change plans on a blueprint, it costs more money. So I'm not sure what we're looking at already on these blueprints.
We have not had a formal revision with the architect to date.
I understand, not a formal one, But as the process goes along, every time you change those plans, President Martin, I'd like to make a motion that we stop what we're doing with this until we can really have a staff meeting and figure out what's really going on with this, where the money's coming from, where we're exactly at with all this, and why hasn't it gone before the planning commission yet to get the conditional use permit? What if we have to change something, it should be done after it's approved by the city, not prior to it. So I'd like to make a motion that we just
Okay.
stop what we're doing and bring this
There's a
before the
motion
board.
here. Is there a second? Okay, hearing none, then the motion fails.
I don't have any more questions then.
Okay, Ivan, any questions on that?
I would just say, specifically to Director Meyerhoffen, I've shared a lot of my opinions with both Assistant General Manager Macy and Mr. Wallum, and I think they're open to your opinions as well. I think the big thing for us is just trying to finalize that tour of East Valley prior to you getting on the board. We did have a workshop after visiting both Palm Springs Unified and East Valley, and a lot of our comments were then taken in for that first round of what the architect has provided us so far. So I don't want you to think that your voice isn't being heard, but I think once we get to East Valley and submit another formal round of revisions, that'll be the time for really the things you want to see to be.
My voice is being heard. And then when I have mentioned to Mr. Macy something, he's listened to it and said, well, we're looking into that, but it's coming after. So here we are, we're looking at the grade level now. We're drawing these plans up, and we're not even sure if the city is going to approve the building to be put at that location. As I mentioned before, we have enough to go before the planning commission to get a CPU approved or not approved. So to continue on spending money before we know if the building is going to be approved or not at that location is just doesn't make sense to me.
Any question from?
No, I mean, the process will go through the planning commission and and we're not really moving forward with anything until we get everything in place.
Okay.
So
So
it takes time.
are you saying, Mr. here, that you're guaranteeing that this is going to be approved?
No.
Oh, okay.
One of the primary keys of taking it to the planning commission and start talking about a conditional use permit is the CEQA documentation. And that's what we are working on right now with our environmental consultant. Once that is complete and any mitigation things that have to be done to build on that site that will be addressed in our amendment, that's what the planning commission will, that's the first question we expect them to ask is what measures are you going to do to make sure that you're not, it's an open space as it's defined now. Is there any mitigating factors that you can work on to reduce any impact to that area? If you look at that area from an aerial perspective, it's actually all been disturbed where our building footprint is going to be. So from that perspective, our environmentalists have said that not only do you have a disturbed area that you're talking about, but also if you go to the south, there are already buildings there. So from that floodway perspective, we're not in the floodway. So from that perspective, we don't feel that there's going to be any issues as far as converting that or getting that to a change in use permit. Have we sat down with the city and had that discussions? Absolutely. We've been having it for a long period of time. And now that we've had a set of plans to talk about and show them, talk about water quality and things of that nature, those discussions have continued and will continue as we go through the process. But we need that CEQA document, which we will get next month, and then start working with the city about getting on their agenda.
As a former planning commissioner, I can tell you that you're absolutely correct. That CEQA document should be one of the first things that goes there. We've already seen what happens with the environmentalist when it doesn't. So, once again, with the CEQA document and what we already have should be enough to go before the planning commission to get the conditional use permit approved. So there's no reason to spend any more money or to go any further. In fact, if you went there and got it approved with what we have now, along with that secret document, then we can go down and they don't care what goes on the inside of the building. If it's a concrete dais or one made with wood pallets, the planning commission can ask about it, but they really aren't that much interested in what you're going to be designing inside the building, as long as it's the code. So we have plenty to go down there now without spending any more money. That's all I'm saying. Why do we keep spending money when we don't know if they're going to approve what we have now?
President Martin, may I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, I'm sorry, are you done?
Yes.
Director? Okay.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
One other thing, I was incorrect the other night after I thought about it. The date for your conditional use permit isn't 3 years. I remember they changed it. It's 2 years before you have to renew it.
Thank you.
Make that clear.
Thank you.
Yes, Amber?
So toward what I think Director Meyerhoffen is asking and is concerned with, would you be able to give the board an estimate on how many staff hours are currently being spent on this project? Is it pretty much just with the architect, or are there active staff hours being put in on a weekly basis?
No, there are not at this point. We feel that the plans have got us to the point where we could probably go to bid as they stand right now. We realize there's going to be some small revisions, but we want to give all the revisions to them at one time so they can go ahead and focus on them. Right now, we are going back and forth with them on the grading issue that we just talked about and going through the CEQA process. But in reality, the plans right now, in my opinion, are 95% done. Some of the things that you see now are related to specification writing. Once the plans were completed, they're upgrading the specifications.
And staff, so then just to reiterate your answer there, staff hours are very minimal right now in this administrative office project. And the also how many staff hours would need to or would be required if we were to move, once we do move to that planning commission stage? That's going to be presentations and meetings with the city staff. How much staff hours would that potentially take?
I do not know exactly how many hours that would take, but that is part of the fee that was associated with the architect and their civil engineer. I know one of the comments made on Thursday was who's going to be meeting with the planning commission and things like that. Right now, we've been doing that, but again, in a cursory or a pre-development or pre-application, just to make sure we're on the same page or on the right track. Once we actually start making formal submittals, then the architect is going to be the ones meeting with the city. Our own environmental consultant will be the ones talking to planning commission to make sure that the CEQA was done properly and things of that nature. So from that perspective, we're just doing it right now just to make sure that we've got some of the broad brush things moving in the right direction. But when it actually gets to the submittal process, that's when our consultant will take over and take the lead. Not that they haven't taken the lead before, they've already been working with the city to make sure they've got the right elevations and things of that nature. It's just when you're talking about grading the site, that happened very early. And now they're sort of picking that information up from almost a year ago and starting to meet with the city on a second go around, if you will.
Funds are were already previously approved
Yes.
by the board, have
Yes,
already
thank
been earmarked and designated for that purpose of getting through that process, right?
Yes,
And at that
yes.
point, then any further work, RFPs and et cetera, would come back to the board for us to approve moving to that next step and to understand where the financing for the building is coming from and et cetera, correct?
Yes, but let me clarify. We technically do not come back to the board when we start talking about putting out a request for proposal or going out to bid for projects. But obviously, this is going to be the second largest project that the district has ever taken on. So we would not, just out of prudence, not move forward without bringing something to the board and talking about the project in itself, what we've gone through and what our expectations are moving the project forward.
Where
So,
the financing
yes,
is coming from, et cetera.
yes.
Okay.
You will get all of that information. And
I hope that in asking those questions, I hope in some way clarifies some of your concerns about how many man hours are being paid for putting in the work, where we're really kind of at a standstill until we actually have the funds and know how this whole thing is going to come off the ground.
My real concern is we spent $2 million on a set of plans and we don't know if the planning commission is going to approve it or disapprove it. And if they don't approve it, that means we have to find another location. And then the plans are gonna have to be changed again for the footing and, you know, the grade level and all that. So that's gonna cost more money. If you have to raise the elevation over there, you gotta bring in more backfill, compaction test. Or have any core samples been done on this site?
Yes, all of that would take it into consideration, but the process takes time.
We have 1,000-foot
I
well.
understand the process
Just-
takes
so
time.
we have a lot of information from a geological
What
perspective
I'm
on that
saying
site.
is, we have enough to go before the planning commission to get it approved. If they disapprove it, then what are we all gonna look like? They, $2 million for a set of plans that was disapproved by the planning commission? We need to get it over there and get it approved,
Yeah.
and then move forward with man hours and whatever else you wanna do. It has to get approved before we go any further. That's what I'm saying. You have enough to go to the city to get it approved.
We agree with you right up until the CEQA document. Once we get the CEQA document, then we'll be able to go to the planning commission. And we're talking about April is when we'll get that information.
So there will be no more money spent with the architect?
No, they are still responding to comments based on the CEQA information. They are still working on the specifications to allow us to go to bid.
Okay.
Part of the
Never
process.
mind. All right, I'm done with it.
Ivan, any questions, comments?
I'll try to be brief. I'm confident and I support the work that our staff and architect have done to this point, and I think we're on the right track.
Anything further, Emma? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. There are 4 items on the consent agenda. There's the approval of minutes, there's a register of demands, there are board member compensation, and the acceptance of the emergency sewer repairs on First Street, 4th Street, 8th Street, and 7th Street project. Would anybody like to pull any one of those items for discussion or questions?
Sorry, we had no discussion on item 18 on Thursday, and I think they provided supplement information, so maybe we could get that presentation.
Okay. So you want to pull item 18 for discussion? Okay, all right. Any other, one of the,
I have a comment for the minutes.
okay, go ahead.
I read in there that I made the comment, I didn't expect to get paid for the tour of the Horton treatment plant. And I expect to get paid if the rest of the directors are gonna be paid. So that was how I really should have said it. So, but if we don't, I'm fine with it. Thank you.
Okay,
That's all I want to say about that.
Ivan? Okay. So additional discussion regarding item 18. You want to, I know there was some additional information that was provided.
The staff report was provided and we can discuss it. when
Okay.
We get to that point. You can move.
Well, we're at that
The
point
other
right now,
three.
so.
Oh, you want it? Okay.
Yeah.
Eric, did you want to elaborate on the notice of completion for item 18?
Yes, sir. This was a relatively minor project. 4 streets were impacted by the repair project. Specifically for First Street, 130 feet of sewer replacement was needed, and that was accomplished. For 4th Street, 40 feet was removed and replaced, as well as 6th Street, 20 feet of sewer replacement was replaced, and 7th Street was incorporated 110 feet of sewer replacement. Before this project was bid, staff reached out to the city of Desert Hot Springs, sat down with them, and spoke with them about the project. And we ensured that adequate traffic control was placed, as well as replacing the street surface to its pre-disturbed conditions. That meant that 2 streets that were recently slurry sealed were slurry sealed again to have the same finish as it was before the project started. The contractor was TriStar Contracting. They've worked with the district in the past on several projects. And the project was inspected by our staff as well as compaction tests were taken. And there was a change order, a relatively minor change order, because once we got the trench open, additional sewer line was found to be damaged, so we replaced it while we were there. And that change order, I believe, was in the amount of $13,543.63. It was within the project contingency. And once this project is reviewed and the acceptance of the notice of completion is done by the board, we will file this with the county recorder's office and start the 35-day clock to release the retention monies back to the contractor. Are there any questions?
Again, I'm just going to remind the board that this was an emergency repair that we needed to do, and when we brought it to you, now we're just completing the project.
So it's already been completed.
Yes, sir.
That's a notice of completion.
So we're just voting to say that, yeah, go ahead and pay the contractor.
Well,
We've
paid the contractor everything but the retention.
No, this is a notice of completion,
Mhm.
which is something that we are obligated to file with Riverside County, which will then release the retainage. So this is something we do for all capital projects. We
I
bring
remember
back to,
now.
This is
from
to be
last
sure
meeting
they
that-
pay.
Excuse me. I remember now from the last meeting that, there was the retention extra.
And we
Yes.
do that because we want to be sure that they pay all their subcontractors and everything is done.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve on the consent agenda, item 15, item 16, and item 17. Do I hear a motion to approve? 18 has to be handled separately because we pulled it for discussion.
I'll make a motion for 15 through 17.
Okay, yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then
Motion passed.
we had pulled item 18, acceptance of the emergency sewer repairs on the 1st Street, 4th Street, 6th Street, and 7th Street project. If there's any further discussion, I don't see any hands raised. I'll entertain a motion to accept the emergency sewer repairs.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Meyerhoffen,
Yes.
Director Duff,
Yes.
Vice President Sewell,
Yes.
President Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to item 19, director's reports. This will be for the reports of any event that occurred during the month of February. Ted, why don't you start things off?
Okay. Went to the, was that Desert Valley Builders Association? And
What date was that?
It was March.
Is that March? Yeah, that's March. We were doing February, so if you wanted.
oh, February, we're not doing this month.
Yeah, we do this month and the next meeting and we do the way we do it. We're handling February now. After the next meeting, we'll handle March and so on.
I appreciate you having the confidence that I can remember that far back. So, no, I don't have a report.
Okay, all right. That's a good point because I go through the same things. Ivan?
Yeah, just two. I have February 15th attended a joint mixer between BIA and Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce. I thought it was a nice event. It was a little light attendance. I think there's quite a few chamber members that are more Desert Valley Builder Association supporters than BIA. But I thought it was a good event and nothing really significant to report. And then the 22nd through the 24th of February, Urban Water Institute conference, their spring conference. I thought it was overall very good, lots of interesting information. Quite a bit of the talk was around the drought and it was kind of ironic because the whole conference is raining on us. But they were reporting a lot of good news for reservoirs within the state, but not as much good news for the Colorado Basin. The Colorado Basin was another big topic, and there wasn't too much optimism regarding that. One resource that stuck out to me that I hadn't heard of prior was solvethewatercrisis.com. And I pulled up that website, and there's quite a few agencies across California that are in support. And I think it would be something that we could easily join and promote as well. So that's all I have.
Okay, Amber?
I was a little bit busy in February.
Well,
I had
good,
to go
good.
back to my notes and make sure I remembered everything for you guys. So on February 6th, I attended the Coachella Valley Cannabis Alliance Network meeting in Palm Desert. They announced that they had 4 open board seats and they were accepting candidate applications. They also announced that Cathedral City had given them confirmation that they had lowered the cannabis taxes and the cultivation taxes to 5%. And they called on Desert Hot Springs City to do the same soon to keep the businesses here. They also talked about the black market, which I know concerns several of our council members, and how these taxes are really what's forcing them to continue struggling, because the black market is still the cheaper option for a lot of people. I did speak with a couple cultivators from Desert Hot Springs that are still waiting for sewer service. So I hope we can really focus on working with these businesses in our area as our new plant comes online, to work with the state and do whatever's necessary to provide service to them. Also, I attended the February 14th Desert Hot Springs Planning Commission meeting by Zoom. That was very interesting. I had never attended one of those before. And one of the commissioners had a question regarding the MSWD landscaping requirements. And it was interesting. Her conversation was talking about the plants that are required or approved by MSWD to be included in landscaping in new projects and in new businesses. And it made me remember when we purchased our home, our contractor said, "This is what's required by your water company. The minute you buy the house, you can tear it out and do what you want." So I would really like to see us work more on long-term requirements and goals, and also to see if we could provide either our website or to the Planning Commission a list of all of the plants that we provide, so that when those commissioners are trying to find something that grows taller and provides shade that we approve, they're able to have that information without waiting to come back to us. So that was just something that I took away from that meeting. I also attended the Urban Water Institute, also first time for myself, very eye-opening. You don't have any idea how complex our water infrastructure and lack of infrastructure is in our state until you get to see the whole picture, right? And so that was very eye-opening for me, just to see how many rules and regulations, EPA regulations, that affect our ability to move water where we need to move it. So that was very informative. I liked how they included discussions not just from our water and sewer districts, but they brought in developers and farmers and hydrologists and gave us a big picture. And like Director Sewell said, wasn't necessarily yay, positive message as far as the drought with the rain that was falling. And I think it was important that they reiterated that we as water people have to continue to remind our residents here in the desert that all that rain doesn't mean our conservation efforts can stop. So I just wanted to say that. Also attended the California Small District Association Academy, February 27th through March 1st. Very, very informative, discussed a lot of tools and things that as a new board member, we need to be focused on. Had a lot of great reminders on the purpose of the board and why we sit here. I particularly found it interesting, that we're supposed to be captains of the ship, guiding, telling our navigator where to go, and he's supposed to ensure that we get there, right? So it made me go back and relook at the strategic plan I was provided when I came, and made me go back and look at some of our capital improvement projects and our budget. And it made me realize that our board needs to be involved in some new strategic planning for the next 5 years. And
I changed that, yeah.
and some making sure that our budget goes with that new strategic plan. And I have asked General Manager Wallum to work on setting up those workshops for us. And that is all I have.
Okay, you were busy. I already did you, okay. Okay, on February 2nd, the Desert Valley Builders Association Legislative Forum, that's a morning meeting. A lot of good information exchanged there from different elected representatives throughout the Coachella Valley and the state. February 3rd, that was our 70th anniversary at Mission Springs Park. I don't have anything to add. There was a lot of comments and stuff afterwards. It was a wonderful event and it was well attended. I was a little bit concerned. It was supposed to start at 5 o'clock and I got there a little early and there was hardly anybody there. And boy, everybody started flocking in right at 5 o'clock. That's when everybody showed up. They're right on time. And that's one of my pet peeves about people is being on time. And boy, they sure took it to task. Anyway, it was an excellent presentation in celebration of our 70th anniversary. On February 7th, City Council meeting, they made some appointments to city commissions. To the Planning Commission, James Nindell. Public Safety Commission, reappointment of Donna Lozano. And another appointment to the Public Safety Commission, Jose Trejo and Kenneth Mitchell. I don't know those last two people. I might know them if I saw them, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Also, there was quite a bit of discussion on a restroom construction at Guy Tedesco Park. Apparently the restroom it was in bad shape and wasn't even functioning properly. So the cost associated included the demolition and then the rebuilding of a new one. And the controversy came about because of the cost. It was the amount of $724,350 that includes a contingency. And it was passed by a majority vote. To those people who say that was a lot of money, welcome to our current state of affairs on the cost of building and things like that. You wouldn't be as shocked when you saw the gas bill that most people are getting now. Everything is going up, so except for water rates. That's good. There's also an agreement with the county for shared cost of the traffic signal and road improvements at 20th and Palm. On February 13th, Desert Valley Builders Association board meeting, we approved the budget. And I discussed the Desert Valley Builders Association and the city of Coachella lawsuit. February 23rd to the 24th, the Urban Water Institute. I don't have much to add. It's been pretty much covered by my fellow board members. So I won't take up any more time discussing the Urban Water Institute. February 7th, Riverside County Board of Supervisors meeting, nothing to report there. February 9th, Coachella Valley Association of Governments. I am the representative on two of the committees / commissions. One of them is Coachella Valley Conservation Commission, and then the other one is the Energy and Environmental Resources Committee. There was a presentation by Coachella Valley Water District on conservation efforts. And the interesting thing was the Urban Tree Planting and Shade Initiative. And what that means is they actually count throughout the entire Coachella Valley the number of trees that have been planted using high resolution aerial photographs and they physically count the number of trees. Now, I imagine they would have difficulty counting saplings that are just growing up on there, but I can't believe that they're able to get an accurate figure of the number of trees planted in the Coachella Valley. That blows me away. But apparently they're able to. I don't know how accurate it is, but anyway, on February 18th, the Air Museum Gala, that was a wonderful event. And on February 23rd, Des Valley Builder Association Network Night, nothing to report there. So moving on to item 20, General Manager's Report.
Nothing additional. We will have a presentation today by both Marion and April. But before we go there, I just wanted to say that I had a meeting over lunch today with the California Groundwater Coalition. And what we discussed, and we'll be sending this on to you and let you know what sort of issues go around him. There are three proposed bond issues out, and Eduardo Garcia, I think, is sponsoring one of those, AB 1567. And I won't go into all of the details because we'll provide that to you later on. You know, they all have different characteristics, and so we developed kind of a policy through the California Groundwater Coalition and things that we think we should emphasize. And Aqua then also has a proposal for a bond issue that they will submit. The three bills are AB 1567, SB 638, which is I think Kidman, and then Senator Allen is sponsoring Senate Bill 867, which he doesn't have any dollar amounts in there. But you know, those propositions will probably be on the ballot either in March or November of 2024. But it's kind of fun to see, you know, how that will go. It really is interesting. The California Groundwater Coalition is slow to grow here, but it's a nice way to really get a good picture of the lobbying that we need to do. Okay, and that's it. And with that said, I think, Marion, do you have
Before you go there, do we have anything further on the financial report? That's the first one.
Nothing further on the financial.
All right.
At least Arturo is here, but I don't think you don't have anything more, do you, Arturo?
Real quick, thank you, General Manager Wallum, President Martin. Director Duff did have a question on the interest rate that we collected in February for the loan that we took out with Wells Fargo. And that loan, we collected $49,535 in interest, and the expense for that month was $49,875. So we paid $340 more than what we earned. Again, keeping that loan pretty much covered by the interest rate that we're collecting. We're going to start moving some of those funds to our investments that have a little bit less interest earnings, simply so that we don't go into the issue of earning more than what we're paying for that requires additional reporting to the IRS. And I just wanted to point that out. I did send that as a email request, and that was the only thing I wanted to report on that. If there's any other questions, I'll gladly answer them.
Okay, any questions, Amber? Yeah. Ted, any questions further?
No.
And I have nothing. Thank you, Arturo. That's great.
I'm going to turn the floor then over to, I don't know why I say over to, I'm let Marion, you know, present to you the public outreach.
Thank you, General Manager Wallum, and good afternoon, President Martin, members of the board. I have a short PowerPoint to share with you today that discusses many of the public affairs activities we've undertaken in the past month. Additional information is available in your packets. Seems like we are adjusting to a post-COVID world, with many of the in-person events have returned to the Valley. Some of the more notable events we recently participated in were the Palm Springs Air Museum fundraiser, the DHS Women's Club Fashion Show, the Spa City Palatiers Luncheon, and last weekend's Mountain View at Mission Lakes Country Club event. And we're not slowing down. We have several community events, including an early act presentation tomorrow at Two Bunch Elementary School, a career day at Julius Corsini Elementary School at the end of the month. In addition, we will be participating in the DHS Rotary Big Hearts Award, in which engineering technician 2, Mike Platt, will be honored as MSWD's Person of the Year. I can't think of a more deserving employee. Mike has volunteered countless hours to our community, and some of the organizations where he has lent his time include the DHS Little League, the Seroptimist House of Hope, DHS KIS Alano Club, DHS Rotary, DHS Community Support Group, DHS Renaissance Group, AYSO Soccer, DHS Eagles, and Father's Heart Ranch, which gives boys a second chance. Another event that I want to draw your attention to was our water efficiency workshop with Master Gardener Burnt Boss. We had more than 20 members of the public brave the cold and the wind and a little bit of rain to attend the event, which was held at the DHS library. Bert focused his presentation on desert-friendly landscaping and ways to increase water efficiency through proper planting and sprinkler retrofits. Feedback was positive, and we are making plans to have Bert back on July 20th and also December 7th. We also kicked off our next series of Water 101 presentations. Our first session was held last week, the week before last, featured information on our water system, our water sources, and our water quality. Our next session on April 6th will feature the wastewater system and talk about assessment districts and our new regional plant. On May 25th, our session will cover finances and the budgeting process, rate making, customer service, and our new customer portal. The last session will cover regional and long-term planning. We do have more seats available for the upcoming sessions, so I invite all of you and also members of the public to join us. For those that are interested but that can't make those dates, we have already secured additional dates from the library for additional classes, which will start in the fall. From a customer outreach perspective, we are continuing to focus on our preventable flushable wipes and our fog and preventing fog from entering the wastewater system. We've incorporated our new green can information to the materials and are promoting the Protecting Our Pipes video on social media. The last time I checked, the video had garnered more than 7,000 views. In addition to this, we are also doing very targeted outreach campaign that highlights a language change on our billing statements. As a courtesy, we've updated our statement language to better match our website and our regulating documents. The week before last, I also completed this year's CV Water Scouts Academy. This is the 6th year the Valley's water agencies have joined together to offer the class. The meetings were again held by Zoom, and we had almost 60 participants each week. Once again, the feedback from the participants was very positive. They enjoyed the wide variety of presentations and lively Q&A. Included in that was a virtual tour of Mission Springs Water District, which was very well received. And lastly, and definitely not least, I'm pleased to share with you our latest mystery series video, which tells the fictional story of the Splash Smuggler.
He's become the subject of legends in Desert Hot Springs, a supposed bootlegger from the Roaring 20s who had a great tasting drink that people couldn't get anywhere else. But was he anything more than a myth, similar to Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster?
Who is the Splash Smuggler? No one believed he was real. No one ever saw him or knew anybody that worked directly for him. But to hear the old timers tell it, anybody could have worked for the Splash Smuggler.
The story begins when he took his first sip of water in Desert Hot Springs. The Splash Smuggler knew people from far and wide would want to taste. According to legend, he began bottling it, carefully packing it into crates that people would unknowingly deliver through runs across the Coachella Valley and Southern California. The Splash Smuggler was flooded with cash, selling what he called the best tasting water in the world. But soon, others would discover the wonders of Desert Hot Springs. Eventually, Mission Springs Water District would be created to bring that fantastic water directly to homes and businesses in the area.
Like that? Gone. Underground. No one's ever seen him since, and there's no evidence the Splash Smuggler ever existed.
While the fictional fairy tale of the Splash Smuggler was completely made up, there's one part of this story that's very real. For decades, Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting has consistently rated the water from Mission Springs Water District has some of the best tasting water in the world. Until our next case, visit MSWD.org for more savory water stories.
And that concludes my, my presentation today. Thank you very much.
That video was outstanding, Marianne. That was just awesome. I loved it. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay. Amber?
First, I want to congratulate Mike Platt. You're setting a wonderful example for all of us in all of your good deeds, so to speak, and helping your community. And it was so nice to hear that. The only other comment I had was, Marion, I noticed that you have been doing some various different things in local communities, like the Mountain View community where you had a recent event. It would be appreciated by me if I could be notified if you're doing things in my division, because I would love to attend. So if you could add that, and I don't know if the other directors would agree, but if you're going to be in any of our divisions, if you let us know, you may find guests willing to join you as we want to be communicating with our neighbors as well.
Just put them all on the calendar, on Dory's calendar, and I would like to attend some of those events, whether they're in my district or not, because once we assume office, we're representing the entire district, not just our division. So, yeah, just put it on the see to it that Dory has it on the calendar, and you'll see more board members attending.
Yeah,
that's assuming you want us there. I mean,
Oh, no, I'm sure Marion would love that. I would love it. Yeah.
You know, most of these events are in District 5.
Well, there you go.
And then only one other thing for Marion, and I know this isn't directly your responsibility, but I know that you do a lot of work with it. I noticed on page 34 of the general manager's report, you were letting us know how many cases of our water have been ordered by various different entities. And, you know, we love our fellow city council and we love the city offices over there. But I think with as many cases as they're requiring or requesting, it might be time we find out what the cost of it is, and maybe a cost sharing would be something appropriate for the city council or the city offices to pay for what it costs us to provide those.
We'll get you that information. Yeah.
Just an idea. I mean, it's a lot of pallets that they're requesting, and I would, of course, want that to be one of the first things our visitors see, right? But I think that since it isn't a charitable network event, it would be nice if the city paid the cost of providing that water to them. That's all I had for Marion, but I did have some general report questions whenever you're ready.
Okay, anything further on the public affairs report? Nothing?
Well, we have the customer service report.
That's the next one. Okay. So moving on to customer service report, Pardon, who's going to handle that?
April will handle that.
Okay, take it away, April.
Good afternoon, General Manager Wallem, President Martin, and members of the board. I'm going to share my screen here. Sorry, that just took me a moment. Always a little bit of a struggle. I'm excited to share one of the customer service projects we've been working on, our new online customer bookings appointment scheduler. Customers can schedule one-on-one in-person appointments with the customer service staff to review their accounts or to get other personalized assistance in English or Spanish from one of the customer service representatives. An embedded link to the scheduler page will be placed in the notification section on the customer's individual portal pages and on our website for easy access. And what you're seeing right now is once you click the link to schedule an appointment, this is the page that the customer will see. As you see each selection, help with accounts, it's also in Spanish. And once the customer selects their choice, they can either select staff that is available if they have someone that they would like to meet with in particular, or they can leave it blank and it will schedule them with whomever is available at the time. If I want an appointment on the 23rd, I click my time, add your details. There's various questions to answer, and then book your appointment. once you've booked your appointment, the customer will see this page here. And they have an option to reschedule, cancel the booking, or like, oh my goodness, I made a mistake. They can go ahead and cancel right away. They will also receive this in the email that they provided, that they will be able to reschedule, cancel, or modify their booking at any time prior. And the link will be embedded. This is a customer portal page. In the notifications section, it will be placed here, the embedded link, and with the language of letting them know that they can book an appointment with our staff, as well as the website. It will be under the Contact Us page. And it will also be placed in the customer service drop-down section. So there'll be 2 options on the website to locate this as well. And I know that Marion is also planning some outreach for our customers, which is always appreciated, Marion. Thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, any questions for April? Yes, Amber?
Thank you for this presentation. This is wonderful. It'll give our customers another opportunity to reach out and schedule productive meetings with customer service. I do want to clarify, or I guess my understanding is that you will not turn customers away who show up who are unable to schedule an appointment. So I just kind of wanted to make sure that that isn't going to change. It was told to me that if someone came up and was unable to make an appointment and was here and it was the only time they could address this issue because of multiple jobs or what have you, you guys are not going to turn people away that come without an appointment, correct?
Of course not. It may depend on associate availability or customer service representative availability. The customer may have to wait, but we are always happy to serve our customers, and we'll do everything we can to accommodate.
That's what I thought. Thank you so much for letting me clarify that.
Scheduling just helps
Thank
us
you, Dr. Duff.
make sure they have that available slot.
Anything further?
No, thank you.
Good? No. Ivan?
Quick question. So I was looking at the numbers and it looks like our customer portal has kind of slowed, but we're still making some progress. Up to 38% of our ratepayers are logged in to the customer portal. Are there other areas we're going to be sharing this scheduling opportunity, or will it just be through the portal?
It's through the portal and on the website, under customer service and contact us. So there'll be 3 points of contact for the embedded link and language. But if there's other suggestions, we're happy to take them as well.
No, I think that's great. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments?
Well, okay,
Just for the general.
Okay, yeah.
sure.
Go ahead.
Just a couple little questions. On page 7, there was engineering and construction maintenance, 2 reimbursable jobs requested by engineering, and one was the Greed Day Village, tiny homes and strip malls. Can someone let me know what this is about?
Well, I that would be Eric, yeah.
Just curious what this program is, and when it says reimbursable jobs, what were they asking engineering to do?
Eric, would you like to answer that?
I can take it if Eric's not on the call.
Eric's not here anymore?
It's actually not Greed, it's Green Day. And that is just a development that is going on, and we're taking out a reimbursable job so we can start tracking internally and putting our time on that. But it's just like a normal development job.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. My next question is on page 9. You were talking about receiving 160 of the 3/4 inch Neptune meters on February 14th. How many meters are we still trying to replace not working meters, or are these
No,
new
this is
properties?
inventory. I pulled that one too. I've got a yellow mark right here.
If I could get some clarification on what those are purposed for, that would be great.
Basically, all we're saying there is we received those meters in case we need to use them in the future to replenish our.
And developers do come in and ask, hey, I'm taking out a new service, so we'd like to have them on hand so not to delay that process. So yes, we try to keep them in stock if we can.
But it isn't, the 160 wasn't because we had
No.
100 that needed, that we were still waiting to
no,
replace.
no,
it.
No, they're
Thank
in
you
our
very
inventory.
much. Thank
And
you.
it's a good eye because in reality, we typically don't keep that many on hand, but because of some of the supply chain issues, we didn't want to get stuck without them. And I know Skyborne's been looking at adding up to, I believe, the 90. Yeah, up to 90. So in reality, that's really for their availability in case Lennar comes in and asks us for those meters.
Yeah, just the basics replenishing our inventory.
Thank you very much. And then on page 15, I noticed that we lost one of our generators. Is that true? Will we be needing to replace it, or is it just offline while it's getting repaired?
I don't know. Do you know,
It said
Danny?
it was the portable 230 kilowatt Cummins generator and it wasn't producing power. The technician said it should be taken out of service. I was just wondering if we were needing to replace that, or it was being repaired, and if we knew how much that was costing.
Go ahead. I think I know what this is, but I don't want to guess.
Yeah. We just want to get you we want to make sure the answer we give you is accurate.
Perfect.
Director Duff, so we did have one of our portable generators during our routine maintenance, our monthly testing. It did not generate power under load. So after looking at some of the things that it needed, the age of it, it was one of the generators, one of our older generators. And right now it's not really cost effective to make the repairs. So we're taking it out of service.
Okay.
And just to note that we do have a budget to bring in additional portable generators, anticipating replacement. Whether they're older, they're not efficient. The major issue that we have is the CARB laws that come along, and to go ahead and either make them compliance with California or more than the value of the actual generator. So any other questions I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it. And then just a couple more questions. Thank you for your patience. On page 17, they were talking about storage of the sludge, which we got to see when we had our wonderful tour. And again, I know we talked about it on Thursday, but I do sincerely thank the plant manager and his assistant who gave us the tour a couple weeks ago as a board. It was very wonderful to see how proud he was and all of the awards he's won, and how much ownership he takes over the Horton plant and soon to be the new one. But the status of our new sludge hauler, we didn't get an update on that. And I know we were working out some contract terms. Do we have the sludge hauler on board yet?
We're working.
So there was a contract that I believe was approved by the board. And so the contractor would have to sign that contract. If they want any substantive changes to that contract, that has to come back before the board.
Okay.
And so there's been discussion going back and forth, but that message has been conveyed to the contractor that they have to sign the contract that was approved by the board. If there was a clerical error, a typo or something like that, or a formatting issue, we can make those changes without it coming back to the board. But any substantive changes would have to come back to the board.
We will bring it back to you.
And are we having a discussion with them right now about changing?
It's in their ballpark. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I believe JP received a correspondence from them today. They've been going back and forth the last couple of days. To add to that, I think when we were going on our tour, we talked about the sludge actually had to be tested before landfill could actually receive it. That actually happened on Wednesday. So we have had some of the sludge already picked up. We've had some of the trailers at risk, if you will, because of some of the indemnification language that JP is working with their attorney on. So we are moving sludge. We're also continuing to treat it to make sure that to remove as much odor as we possibly can. But we would expect by the end of today or tomorrow to have that document signed. And I believe we're in the process of lining up to 10 different trucks to get that sludge out of here as soon as possible.
It'll move fast once we.
I know the community there will be happy, although I will have to say it was a surprise to us all that the smell was not what you would expect at a treatment plant, and that they are definitely doing a good job mitigating those odors. The last comment I had was stemming from your comments regarding well 29 on page 25, where you were talking about the wrought iron fencing that was stolen. We are making police reports every time. Yes. Okay. If the city doesn't know it's happening and we aren't recording it correctly, it doesn't get taken as seriously when we
Exactly.
ask them to do something. So I'm just making sure that as painful as it may be to go through those steps, I just wanted to make sure we are still reporting it.
Anytime we have a theft, we reach out to whatever jurisdiction there is, whether it be Riverside County, whether it be Desert Hot Springs, to get that report. It's part of our requirements for our insurance agent.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you very much.
Okay. That is it, President Martin.
Okay. Moving on to item 21, their thank you notes. We have two in there. One is from a group called the Mission Lakes Country Club Spring Team. Thanking us for the donated water. And the other is Lily of the Valley Worship Center. Both those notes are in your binder. Moving on to item 22, District Council comments.
Yes, I gave my report on Thursday, but I also wanted to comment on a question that was raised by Director Duff about attending meetings, and it sounded like there was interest of maybe more than one board member to attend. And my advice would be to be careful about having, a majority or a quorum of the board present at one of those meetings.
Okay.
We might be able to do that depending on how the meeting is set up, who sets up the meeting. There are some exceptions under the Brown Act. For example, if the Chamber of Commerce, a different organization other than the district, puts on an event, you can all attend that, even if they're talking about a water related issue. It's open to the public. Anybody can attend. It's well publicized. You can attend those type of events. You can even speak as part of the program. One of you could even speak as part of the program without violating the Brown Act. But if a majority of the board members wanted to attend one of these smaller community meetings, I'd want to know more about it. I think the safer thing to do is just make sure, try to avoid a situation where you have a majority of the board present at one of those meetings.
Yeah, one of the easy ways to do it, if you have any doubt, is to take a look at the calendar that Dory puts out, and usually she'll say on there, all directors approved to attend an event like that, meaning that we can all attend, or she identifies a specific board member. Sometimes we can, like recently, I attended a meeting in which Ivan was a designated person, and I attended that meeting as well, but I paid my own way, and it wasn't a water district issued thing, so we were cool with that. So.
And it may be permissible for the entire board to be there. It just, we'd have to look at the facts and who's putting it on and how well publicized it is and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But the safest thing to do is probably try to avoid having a majority of the board present.
And no closed door session today, right?
None today.
Okay. Any questions or comments for the council?
No.
Seeing none. Okay. Moving on to item 23, director comments. Ted, we'll start with you.
I'd just like to say thank you again to Mayor Mattis, Robert Griffiths, Director Griffith, and I were presented with letters of recognition for serving on the Planning Commission. And I thought that was very nice that the mayor did that, and the city recognized us for serving there. I spent a little time looking into the Army Corps of Engineers and what they actually do. I had a general idea of it, and I found it to be very interesting. And from campsites to anything along the waterway, they seem to be involved in. They are actually a department of the Army. So it really was, I found that to be interesting. In our director's handbook, section 9, page 33, I would like to get some clarification in the future, President Martin, on what's really going on with that. I'll give you some time to look it over.
Could you shoot me an email or a text or something like that on what item you're talking about? And then
Okay, it's
I'm old and I'll forget, but
yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it will come to you later. It concerns the amount of money that's been set aside in the budget for the board of directors. I was like, I'll round it off to $400,000. And when I look at all that and the figures of $80-some thousand is what's set aside for the directors to be paid. But when you add up 10 meetings for each director, and normally we don't get 10 meetings in, goes over, it goes way under that 83. So there's some clarification there I would like to get, and maybe the other board directors like to take a look at it too.
Okay.
We'll send it to you.
Amber?
I wanted to thank the staff for their patience and for their hard work in doing their best to provide us with information, but I do want to state again that for me anyway, I need more rather than less when it comes to what's provided to us in the agenda packet. I don't operate on assumptions, and I hate having to look at something and assume what is being told me. I would rather see it. So I just am politely asking that for next month, if we could pay a little extra attention to providing full details of the agenda items that are being asked, and providing the history necessary for us to see the whole picture. It'll allow us to be, at least me, more productive and feel more comfortable. For example, one of the things I had to abstain from, if I would have had more information, I potentially could have had a good faith vote, but I wasn't provided enough information to be able to ascertain whether that particular agenda item was fully explained. So I'm just again asking that, like with the amendments and things like that, give us more history rather than less is all I'm asking.
You may have to have a second binder though to go with it.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you though. Thank you.
Okay, I have, oh, I'm sorry, Ivan.
And one comment just to Director Duff's comments. I'm sure staff would be open if when your study session packet comes out Monday or Tuesday, if there is an item, maybe to get a head start on it instead of on Thursday. I just know half of the staff is off on Fridays and then we're back here Monday. So I think the earlier, if you have an issue, to let staff know, and I'm sure Arden or
Absolutely, just tell.
I do try to do that. I think that you're aware and your staff is fully aware of the emails I send upon receiving them, but it just, like for instance, today, getting the response at 11 o'clock this morning on things we needed to be able to digest, that doesn't give me enough time to go back with further questions. Thank you.
And then I just wanted to say it was nice to see those thank you notes to Carol. And I have an additional thank you from Cabot Yerxa Elementary. I believe they're working on a formal thank you, but the district was nice enough to provide their third grade field trip with water bottles for their sack lunches. And it was fun to see 100 students running around with a water bottle. And then next month's study session, unfortunately, I have a flight that got pushed, so I won't be back in time for the study session, but I will be here to attend the regular board meeting.
Okay. And I have nothing that I want to add to the proceedings here today. So if there's nothing more, this meeting is adjourned.